Hello, hello, and welcome to Keep Calm for Moms, where we talk about what it means to parent the next generation with grace and ease. I am Dr. Pamela Ellis, the education doctor, and I am excited to see you today. For those of you who are joining for the first time, my firm works with employers and schools on educational services. And one of our signature services is college readiness. Our proprietary framework is called Keep Calm. I'm sorry. I just had to get something out of my mouth. So anyway, that's what happens when you're live, right? So our proprietary framework is called Keep Calm, and the CALM stands for College and Accelerated Leadership Methodology. There are 5 pillars of Keep Calm, and they are academic, social, financial, vocational, and cultural. And we believe that the glue that holds it all together is parent engagement. And so for the month of June, I have been talking with dads about what it means for them to be a father, and also with balancing work life, because we oftentimes may hear that conversation as it relates to moms, but not all the time with dads. But I know that it's also a concern for them as well. So I'm going to bring up my guest for the day, and I'm excited to have join me today Scott McGohan from McGohan Brabender. So how are you today, Scott?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. Grateful.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And I have to say, this is our first IRL meeting because I have seen you on social, and I even have participated in a few things at your company years ago when my office was near yours, but we haven't actually met in real time. So this is great. Yeah, absolutely. So Scott, one of the things, that I know from you in terms of your posts on social is, you're a family man, and your commitment to family, and also I would say faith as well. And so I want to talk with you about that today. And I want to just kind of start out with you telling us who you are as a dad.
Gotcha. Well, I got 2 kids. My daughter Courtney, she's 31, and she's married to a guy named Jack, who's a great dad. Got 2 grandkids: Jackson, age 5.
Wow.
And Ellison, who's 2 years old. And for those of us with grandchildren, we would understand that we should have had them first on this planet, because it would be amazing if we did.
Yes.
I've been married for 34 years to my best friend. Her name's Lori. And then I have a 29-year-old son. He's a filmmaker here in Dayton. Does a great job. Married to a school teacher, Megan, at Springboro Schools. So,
really? That's awesome. That's awesome. I do some work in that district. So really good to hear. Now tell us a little bit about your firm and your leadership journey.
Well, we represent about 1,200 employers across the state of Ohio and Indiana, offices in Columbus, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and Dayton. We represent about 125,000 employees. I like to say a 250,000 belly buttons, moms, dads, kids, families.
Yeah.
And about $1.5 billion in healthcare spend. So it's expensive. We want to make it less, and we're motivated by less. So that's what we do.
Yeah. Now tell us this: how has being a dad informed your leadership?
Gosh, I mean, it's a great question. I think, growing up, I wish, we all wish we could go back in time. But I think growing up, when our kids were younger, you have fear of mortgages and debt and stress of bills. And then unfortunately for me, I just had this really warped perception of self-worth. I thought self-worth equaled performance plus the opinions of others. So, as a father growing up, I probably cared more about what other people thought of me than what my own family thought of me.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of what brought my faith journey around.
Yeah.
So, fortunately, by the grace of God, that I had had a chance to maybe say, hey, let's start over. Let's start
Yeah.
over as a father. Let's start over as a husband. Let's
Hmm.
start over as a friend. And I've learned
Yeah.
a lot through that journey.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, sometimes that's what grandchildren bring, is that opportunity to start again. Because I certainly see that with grandparents, that, sometimes they may be better parents to their grandkids than they were to their own kids.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not a grandmother yet, but that's what I've seen over the years.
Yeah, no question about it.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate you sharing that. Now tell us, how do you define fatherhood?
I think
Hmm.
it's like leadership too. Is sometimes it's more important as a leader to be trusted than to be liked.
Hmm.
And I think
Hmm.
sometimes maybe I wanted to be liked too much instead
Yeah.
of trusted, which means and I wasn't around a lot because I worked too much. Work
Yeah.
was I had my drug of choice, and it was pace.
Yeah.
And what I've learned
Hmm.
is the fact that children, obviously they want a friend, but
Yeah.
everybody wants to be led, and sometimes
Mm.
being led doesn't mean that you have to be liked. You just have to be honest and authentic
Yeah.
and truthful.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't think I've heard that before in terms of people wanting to be led. And so could you speak to that? Because I think that in some cases for those who are leaders, being led may have a negative connotation. And so can you say more about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I always say great leaders
Hmm.
create followers and not fans. So if you're doing it
Mm.
for applause, you
Yeah.
shouldn't be leading. You probably shouldn't even be leading yourself.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to create a people of followers and you don't need
Yeah.
the recognition, right?
Yeah.
And I think everybody has
Hmm.
something that maybe that they have an aspiration towards
Yeah.
or for,
Hmm.
and they need guidance to get there and help to
Yeah.
get there. And
Yeah.
those of us that are maybe, I always say life's a wonderful teacher, and she rarely gets an apple on her desk.
Hmm.
When we're
Yeah.
vulnerable and we can share
Right.
our mistakes, it lets other
Yeah.
people know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
But when we're
Yeah.
trying to act perfect, like we've never made one,
Hmm.
um, that's a hard life to live.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Now tell us about, just how families or parents show up in your workplace, because yes, they see you as a family man and the leader of the organization, and I would think that some of that trickles down in a sense in terms of the culture, but do they have the same freedoms, if you will, to be parents in the workplace?
Yeah, our number one value is family.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
what how we state it is we say it encompasses our homes, our workplace, and the community. And this might sound really corny, but we believe that if our job as an employer is to maybe create better men and
Hmm.
women, better moms and dads, then we would
Yeah.
benefit from that. So let's put the family
Mm.
first.
Yeah.
And then, like inside the walls of McGohan Brabender, we have 300 picture frames of
Mm.
300 people and their families
Hmm.
on the wall,
Yeah.
every single building
Yeah.
you walk through. And a really cool thing we do here is we have a toy closet. So, a lot of times, mom and dad, the kids
Hmm.
hear about work, and they're just like, oh, that's
Yeah.
that place that takes my mom and dad away every day. We want
Yeah.
people to hear, the folks at McGohan Brabender, the kids,
Hmm.
to say, hey, I have to go to the office. We want them to say, I want to go. So when they come here, they get to open
Yeah.
up the closet and take a toy home with them. So they love
Oh.
coming here, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. Really cool. Now, what about with managers and how you, I guess, kind of train them to also carry that through in terms of how they manage their own teams?
Yeah, I think one of the things we talk about a lot is the fact that when people come to
Hmm.
work, they bring
Yeah.
their marriages, they bring their
Yeah.
debt, they bring their fears,
Hmm.
um, So in other words, they don't just leave that at home. That comes
Right.
to work with them.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to do their best. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
their best is terrible. It's just
Yeah.
not very good.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're always leaning into family first, and that could be whether, my son or daughter missed the bus,
Yeah.
or they're having a problem,
Mm-hmm.
or I can't come to work because my son or daughter's sick.
Yeah.
When the workforce feels like they have a choice to make,
Yeah.
and at least they know here is their first
Mm-hmm.
choice is to take care of your family,
Yeah.
and the second choice is to help us out and help out our customers. And
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone understands that,
Right.
and it's really
Right.
really important.
Yeah. Now, how did your business change in this past year?
Great question. So
Mm-hmm.
we did not have a remote strategy. And I can remember on March 10th, I think I called like John
Yeah.
Houston, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on with this thing?" And
Mm-hmm.
he had said, it's bigger than you think."
Yeah.
And so we sent our workforce home on March 16th, and we said, "Take
Mm-hmm.
care of your family," without any remote strategy, none at all.
Yeah.
And in the morning, IT called and said 95% of the people are online right now on VPN working.
Hmm.
And it was like, whoa. And they figured it
Yeah.
out. And
Yeah.
and then we got to see people like in their homes. Like I love your sign behind you. It says, "Be bold, be true, be kind," right?
Yeah.
So like in the pandemic, I got to go into people's homes and I got to look
Mm-hmm.
and see what was important to them.
Yeah.
And we got to learn, we got to see people without makeup on, right? Without
Mm-hmm.
suits and jackets and ball caps, and with the dogs and the kids. And
Yeah.
so um, we got to see beautiful things.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I think we
Yeah.
cared for them before
Mm-hmm.
chaos. And when you do that before, inside of chaos, people,
Yeah.
they'll rise to the occasion. And so
Yeah.
beautiful things happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, have you been impacted by the worker shortage? I know it's hard for me to find employees. Maybe
Yeah.
it's not for you, but
Yeah. Actually, we've hired like almost 40 people inside of the pandemic,
mm,
and our recruiting efforts
yeah.
have been terrific. And
Yeah.
anytime we can get people to come in the building and see
Yeah.
the picture frames,
Yeah.
and hopefully, when people come
Hmm.
in, what they see is they see real, authentic smiles
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not fake, and they see
Hmm.
people that enjoy, being here. So
Yeah.
we've been, knock on wood, really, really, really successful in finding
Yeah.
people to come here.
Now, are you all back in the office now?
Yep.
Really? Wow.
Now
Wow.
we have a remote strategy today
Hmm.
where, if folks, each team has their own individual decision
Yeah.
in regards to, hey, if I want to work from home, can I do that? When can I do that? And we've left
Hmm.
that up to the leaders to make those decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this is a different kind of question, but speaks to the name of the show, which is Keep Calm for Moms. Who is a woman who's a leader that's been influential for you in your role as a leader?
Well, our CFO, Beth Farron,
Mm.
who is
Hmm.
a rock star and a dear friend of mine,
Yeah.
she's my truth teller. And
Yeah.
I think sometimes those of us that are leaders, we have to recognize that we get to see the best in people.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
sometimes we think we have it all figured out. And what we need
Hmm.
is we need someone that's honest with us when things are,
Yeah.
maybe when we're misbehaving, someone that's
Hmm.
willing to say, hey, 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 I think you need to go make
Yeah.
amends, or I think you need to clean up that mess you made.
Yeah.
And she's an amazing truth teller. And we
Hmm.
make each other, deals that if we have any resentment or anything
Yeah.
we need to talk to each other about, we'll clean our side of the street every single day. So we come in,
Hmm.
and yeah, she's just a real blessing in my life.
That's awesome. Now, you made a big announcement recently. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was amazing. So,
Yeah.
firms like McGohan Brabender, obviously all kinds
Hmm.
of companies want to buy us. And,
Yeah.
um, it was a rule of my father who said, hey, three
Hmm.
things are really important. Treat your employees the way you want your customers treated. That's not
Hmm.
that complicated.
Yeah.
Number two is stay profitable so you can make good decisions, because sometimes when you're not profitable, you have to make bad ones.
Yeah.
And the third one was give back to a community that gives to you. And
Mm.
one of the greatest assets that
Yeah.
entrepreneurship has in a community is the jobs and the future
Yeah.
that we get to
Yeah.
watch. And
Mm-hmm.
so, we could sell and, build a beach house somewhere,
Yeah.
all that stuff, but it's not the dream that was sold to me. And we felt like
Yeah.
if we really care about independence,
Mm-hmm.
then the best way to do that is become an employee-owned company, an ESOP. So
Yeah.
we said, hey, we
Yeah.
sold the company, but we sold it for
Mm-hmm.
you, which is really, really, it was just terrific.
Wow. Wow. And how do you think that will spur the continued growth of your firm?
Well, I think it lines with family, so we care about each
Mm-hmm.
other. We want to make sure that we can perpetuate off into the future.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as a recruiting tool, whether it be a
Yeah.
401k or a retirement
Mm-hmm.
asset, the fact that like I had a young person right after we announced said, "Hey,
Yeah.
can I go call my mom and dad?" I'm like, "What? Why do you need to call them?" And they said, "I want to tell them I own a company today." And
Ah.
it brought tears to my eyes. And,
Yeah.
and there's something really special about saying, "Look,
Yeah.
I'm not only an employee, but like I'm an
Mm-hmm.
owner and I'm part of this plan, and it's
Yeah.
bigger than me." And so it's just
Mm-hmm.
really been special.
Yeah. Now, what prompted that decision?
I think it's probably the number of companies that wanted to buy us, and the number of
Yeah.
companies just like us that have been
Mm-hmm.
bought. Is if we didn't do something drastic
Yeah.
and really put like a post in the sand to say we are dedicated to independence and we will always remain independent.
Yeah.
One day, and my faith, and I've
Mm-hmm.
even said that God was way ahead of us in this whole thing, because two things:
Yeah.
deep down, I don't think any of us are that noble. So
Yeah.
he had collective virtue,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not that smart. And when we just turn things over, amazing things happen, and we can put that in
Yeah.
front of that, and
Mm.
praise Him for that. So grateful for that.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I have three rapid wisdom questions that I close with. One of them is, what's a book that's informed the way you see parenting?
A book that informs parenting. Great question. Gosh. There was a book, I can't remember the name of the book. It's
Mm-hmm.
close to, A Search for Significance.
Oh, okay.
And
I haven't heard of that one.
it was a beautiful book. I've always said that the mirror is a wonderful place to find a friend. And
Uh-huh.
it's a book to help you become a friend to yourself.
Huh. Yeah. I think that speaks to self-care.
Hmm.
And I mean, that's something that I found very important in this last year. And, continuing, it's very important. And so that's good that you mentioned that. So the search for significance. Okay. Now, in 3 words, the truth about work-life balance is what?
Work-life balance would be friendship, um, vulnerability,
Hmm.
and encouragement.
Really? Tell me what prompted those.
Well, if we're taught to love our neighbors as ourselves and we
Mm-hmm.
don't love ourselves, humanity doesn't have a shot.
Hmm.
Um, and then vulnerability is just being honest with people around where life is for yourself, and it lets people know
Yeah.
that you're not alone.
Yeah.
Um, and I've learned through life that everybody needs encouragement, and the people
Mm-hmm.
that deserve it the least need it the most.
Mm.
It's easy to celebrate the rock stars.
Yeah.
People that are lonely, broken, and tired and afraid need to know
Mm-hmm.
that they're loved. And when you do that for people, they will do amazing things for themselves and then for others.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Nice. And the third one is, if you could have a do-over as a dad, what would it be?
Oh, patience.
Hmm.
Like I watched my grandson play today, and he'll be building something like out of,
Yeah.
and I'm like, tell me what that looks like. What is that?
Uh-huh.
And it'll be a castle. And I'm like, well, where's the front door? And he'll show me the front door. What's over here? And before, maybe
Yeah.
growing up, I was, clean
Hmm.
up your mess. We have
Yeah.
people coming over, right?
Yeah.
And just more patience, just slow. But I think that age and wisdom gives us that as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it does. And you get to do that now with your
yeah,
grandchildren.
yeah.
Well, Scott, this was great. Thank you so
Oh, you're
much
welcome.
for joining me. And I do look forward to meeting you in real
Yeah.
life. We're in a small town in Dayton, but haven't crossed paths physically. So I'm hopeful that that will happen soon.
Well, thanks for everything you do too.
Ah, thank you so very much. So I told you guys that was going to be a great conversation. And so I just appreciate you all for joining me. And for those of you who have a rising senior, you know I'm staying on you about looking into our college prep boot camp, which is coming up in July, because now is the time to really get those essays together for the fall applications. So thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next month. It'll be July. So have a great holiday, a great safe holiday as well. Thank you so much.